Hi folks, it's time again for me to delve into an episode of a superhero animated series. Today, I'll be talking about the Batman Beyond Season 2 episode, Armory. So strap on your spoiler hats and listen to me sum up the plot of this episode before I get into the review. Remember Jared, one of Terry's schoolmates who had a mom who was targeted by Spellbinder way back when? Well, he and his family are back. His stepdad Jim got fired from Wayne Powers, and no other company will take him back. So a shady guy is offering him a chance to sell a weapon he designed to an unfriendly country for a lot of money. Other than this being morally wrong, Jim has to steal the designs for the machine so he can sell it. Terry eventually figures out it's Jim who's doing all of this, and then he confronts Jim and the shady guy. Jim realizes he's in too deep, and he attacks the shady guy. The judge goes a little lenient on Jim, and Jared exposits about how the family won't be as nearly rich as they once were, but at least their souls aren't compromised. Cue credits. A huge complaint I have had with many supervillains with a background in super science is, why can't they just sell their awesome inventions and go buy an island somewhere? No, it's always gotta be, I'll invent this special anti-gravity gun so that I can rob a bank and retire, when he could just as easily do that with significantly less illegal activity. Well, this episode answers that question beautifully. Jim Tate tries to do the right thing, but he can't get a job anywhere. Now, to be fair, Jim may not be trying too hard. He's had a very cushy existence up until now, and I'd bet my lunch money that he's not looking for any job, just the ones where he can continue living his luxurious lifestyle the way that he always has. But still, I like that this shows that sometimes the villain isn't brain dead despite his book smarts and is actually doing stuff for a reason. May not be a very good reason, but it is a reason. And although he may be a little choosy in his job search, at least Jim is doing this for his family and isn't just a greedy jerkface, so this episode gets points for that. I did find it a little strange that the weapon that Jim is stealing to sell to this country is a sound-based weapon. Since we already had Shriek and his sound-based technology, I'm very curious why Wayne Powers would pass on Jim Tate's designs, but then go ahead with Shriek's designs. I'm curious if Shriek maybe got his proposal in earlier, or maybe Powers just thought that he had a better design with Shriek's technology than he did with Tate's, or maybe he thought that he could weaponize Shriek's technology easier than he could with Jim Tate's, although, as we see in this episode, it was very easy to weaponize Jim Tate's design, so I'm not really sure why the company would pass on one and then go ahead with another. But then again, that's a minor complaint. And hey, Jared is back. It's almost like the people making this series heard my complaints all the way back in the 1990s, and they compensated by bringing back a character they had introduced earlier for an episode here. I've complained so many times about how this series will introduce characters like Jackie, Sean, or Carter and act like they've been at the school this entire time when they very clearly have not. Now, it's not as bad as I've maybe let on. You've got Nelson, Blade, and Chelsea usually showing up in the background, and then Terry, Dana, and Max, but far too often, you've got those other characters who just show up whenever the plot needs them to. And so it's kind of nice to see the return of a character who we already saw once already, even if this is more or less the only time we'll see him again outside of non-speaking cameos. This episode dials back on the Batmaniness, and I'm okay with that. It's almost 5 minutes into the episode before we see Batman in costume, and we only ever saw Terry once in that 5 minutes dancing with What's-Her-Face. The episode needs to take Batman out of the equation a little bit to focus on Jim and his dilemma. We get to see this sort of thing a lot in Batman the Animated Series, and it worked sometimes, and I think it works exceptionally well here, especially since Jim does get his character arc in at the end. I'd have been singing a different tune if this spent so much time on Jim without letting him get to have his moment at the end of the episode. And Jared and Max even get dual character arcs. Max is all jealous of Jared's family being super wealthy, and then Jared is kinda sorta a spoiled brat. He's not a jerk or anything, but based on his very little screen time in Spellbinder's debut episode, we know that he likes the expensive toys that his stepdad gets him. So this time around, he learns that money isn't everything, and Max learns something that she should have known a while back, that even rich people don't have perfect lives. Really great stuff. To be honest, I don't really have much more to say about this episode. That's usually the case with episodes that I really liked. What's funny is that I haven't seen this episode very many times, but now that I've seen it and reviewed it, I definitely plan on watching it many times in the future. So those are my thoughts on this episode. What did you guys think of the episode and of my review? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, then you'll be happy to know that next weekend I'll be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series. And the weekend after that, I'll be talking about another episode of Batman Beyond. And also, I do other videos throughout the week, so check those out as well. And if you did like this video, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.